our adversaries, I mean, China, Russia, Iran, how do they read a move like this? I mean, they cannot be taking Bill Pulte particularly seriously.
No, China's thrilled, and China is our main rival here in terms of just AI and all the sophisticated ways that spying is going to be conducted in the future. So it's a win for them. And then for Vladimir Putin or Iran, it's just more chaos and more of a distraction in terms of, a weak Washington where the president is dividing everyone. And look, and we talked about it earlier on the previous hour, but my real concern is about what Bill Pulte will do in terms of the elections this fall. Tulsi Gabbard, before she resigned, had gone down and seized voting records in Fulton County, carried out investigations in other states to prove the president's false claims of 2020 election fraud. And now you have Roger Stone pushing Bill Pulte. And, there's real concerns among Democrats that he'll somehow claim to have intelligence and try to stop voting in blue areas in key states, and let's say Georgia or Texas in terms of Senate races, or after the vote claim it's all been hacked, that another election was stolen. And that's more of a distraction. That kind of division in this country just helps our foreign rivals. So it's, we'll see if he stays in his position and what the Democrats do.
Wednesday, 22 July, year of early 2026, and that's from a month or so ago. Natalie, I just want to go back through this because the lead attack dog against President Trump and Bill Pulte and all the information that was put out last week has been a running dog of the Chinese Communist Party, and people refuse to take this on. You have to. We are infested with people that are on the payroll of the Chinese Communist Party. It's one of the reasons we're in this jam, ma'am.
Well, Steve, I don't know about you, but I am so glad that House Republicans finally are calling out, communism is a great threat. I think they're probably half a decade late compared to what War Room has been doing, although maybe that's bad because when they actually say they're going to do something, that means they're definitely not going to do it. So we'll do their work for them here in the War Room. But look, this is a story within a story within a story that at the meta level, I think is quite emblematic of everything that has gone wrong with this country when it comes to a foreign takeover, especially from the PRC angle. So David Rohde, who is that funky looking guy that you just saw on your screen, I think you made him famous to the War Room viewers because he really was, MS Now's, the kind of mainstream media industrial complex's hatchet man for saying that President Trump's speech about the 2020 election and Chinese involvement in forthcoming elections was bogus, was destroying democracy, was all the things. And what's so interesting about David Rohde, who I encourage everybody to go on Twitter and reply to his tweets and let him know that he's a Chinese traitor. That's ROHDED on X. But he actually has a history of collaborating with not just any, but the foremost Chinese Communist Party controlled propaganda and espionage organization that works here in the United States to essentially co-opt Westerners, co-opt people who hold, positions of trust in society, whether it's in media, in government themselves, and push Beijing's propaganda. And this is not something that we're making up. We're not even really connecting dots. If you just read the Foreign Agent Registration Act filings, you can see that Western lobbyists were retained by this group called the China-U.S. Exchange Foundation to basically connect them with American journalists so they could secure, quote, favorable coverage and, quote, disseminate positive messages to the American people about the Chinese Communist Party. I think that's I would say it's up to the line of treason, although I actually think that is. And this is a program that has been going on since at least 2009. They've done dozens of trips to China. I think Denver should have the picture. They take these people on tours of Chinese military facilities. They tour Huawei. That's what they're doing publicly, so you can only imagine what they're doing privately. And this is not just some one-off thing was just David Rohde. The outlets that have been involved in this are CNN, the New York Times, the Washington Post, MSNBC, Forbes, the Financial Times, Newsweek, Bloomberg, Reuters, ABC, The Economist, The Wall Street Journal, AFP, Time Magazine, LA Times, The Hill, BBC, and The Atlantic. In one case, this was back in 2009, but one of the multiple lobbying firms that this Chinese entity retained was bragging of influencing, just by quote, 3 articles a week. Now, why I think the story is so interesting and where you can actually do something, so I would encourage the DOJ, I won't hold my breath for Congress, is that in these FARA filings, they only listed the outlets that they had contact with, not the actual journalists. How I was able to identify David Rohde is by pulling conveniently deleted articles where he was discussing his trip to China. So there's a handful of other journalists that I've been able to identify that did this. Now, conveniently, they're basically all Trump haters. And if you look at their track record, they've all gone on to praise China. David Rohde being quite a glaring example. In his case, he actually, in the article that he wrote while he was in China, he praised the Chinese Communist Party for their, efforts in economic development. This is a direct quote. Americans should accept that large-scale manufacturing will never return to the United States, and said that the real problem that the middle class faces is the ideological babble against the Chinese Communist Party in DC, not the economic hostility that the Chinese Communist Party wages. You can see it continuing throughout his entire career, saying we shouldn't go after them as currency manipulators, that, quote, getting tough with China is not as simple as it sounds. And look, here's the thing, right? There are so many journalists, sure, that are on the payroll of probably God knows how many foreign countries, but with the Chinese stuff, it is so in your face, which means it is also so easy to call out these people. And I really hope that the administration, this is such an easy win. You don't have to make anything up. The facts are right there. If you want names of people who have taken cash, who have worked with the Chinese Communist Party, not just to spread negative stories about President Trump, they do that, but to deceive the American people into thinking that the Chinese Communist Party is our friend. It's such an easy win, and they should do it. And I honestly, the fact that they haven't is, for 5 years now, I first broke this story 5 years ago, is pretty maddening.
Take a minute of why the leadership in Beijing, who are the biggest hammers in the world, why they don't take it seriously. Talk to us about United Front, what they just do. This is totally open. In Washington, D.C., it's accepted. It's just another thing you're going to lobby for, another thing you're going to work for, another client to get paid for. Why this is part of the direct takeover of this nation. From this, you get situations like the dark money coming into back Mandami. This is how you get Mandami. This is how you have the takeover of all of our major cities. It just drives me crazy that it's open. They're not hiding this. They're very open about this, and they're paying big dollars. They are just as aggressive, more aggressive, and maybe don't write as big a checks as Qatar, right, or the Saudis in trying to push their Islamic agenda. But they're pretty brazen about it, Natalie.
Well, that's exactly the maddening part about this. This is what they're doing as registered foreign agents publicly in your face. You can only imagine what's going on behind the scenes, right? It's this concept of strangling us with our own systems, right? Because the United States is such an open society, we apparently let DC lobbying firms not just work for weird Chinese propaganda organizations, but literally represent the Chinese Communist Party, their various embassies, their various ministries, even in some cases, their military proxies. By the way, the same peoples whose salaries you subsidized as the taxpayers so they could garner all the knowledge that the Chinese Communist Party now pays them to exploit to help build up China's capability to destroy the United States. But I really think it's much more sinister, right, than just putting, media on payroll, let's really dupe the American people and let's have them think that China's economic success story is something that's great for them. One, we've now seen the evolution. They were basically forward deploying these operators to be able to put narratives now that are anti-Trump, rig elections, right? It's not just about saying, oh, China lifted all these people out of poverty, GDP went up by this percent. No, it's much wider scale. And I think when you juxtapose that on the timeline, right, of unrestricted warfare, you love to hear from the David Rhodes of the world, right? Oh, China, they're not pursuing kinetic confrontation, right? They want to avoid that. They even sometimes will say that's what we take away from, unrestricted warfare and Sun Tzu. It's like, no. Avoiding unrestricted warfare is a means to an end. So when they take over the United States militarily, politically, etc., they still have a defense industrial base and they're not, as struggling. They're okay with using kinetic means. They just don't want to have to. And it's using these tactics, right? The political warfare, the information warfare, the three warfares doctrine, the media warfare, the legal warfare, which, by the way, For all the exchanges that go on between our elites and their elites, I would posit that you've seen a lot of these tactics come back and now seem to be the strapline in the Democratic Party. But people view these as isolated incidents or just, people being, oh, they just want some cash from the Chinese Communist Party. This is systemic and systematic. And by the way, all these people who tell us now, oh, we were right about the origins of COVID. These are the people who, like, the day after China invades Taiwan, they're going to tacitly admit, oh, well, maybe all the China hawks were actually right. Like, oops, sorry, got this wrong. And it's like, no, enough is enough. You're on the payroll of the Chinese Communist Party. Stop lecturing us. And for the love of God, stop saying that this show is responsible for destroying democracy when you're literally working hand in glove and taking cash from the Chinese Communist Party to literally help the Chinese Communist Party be superior to the United States. That's how you destroy democracy.
Natalie, where do they go? Your Substack on this is amazing. Where do people go to get your Substack? Where do they go to get your social media?
Yes, Substack is nataliegwinters.substack.com, Natalie G. Winters on X, and feel free to let ROHDED on X know what you think about him being a traitor for the Chinese Communist Party. Thank you, Steve.
I would match Natalie Winters. That right there was just all the top of the head because she knows the subject so well. I would match her against anyone in the nation, not just media, any politician, anybody, for her knowledge and the ability to articulate it in a coherent manner. Ma'am, fantastic. Unbelievable. Thank you. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. John Solomon, the Democratic Party, for laughing at this, all your revelations last Thursday of your task force, they had an unpleasant moment up in New Jersey. And it gets more and more unpleasant as now more and more lies. They're saying, oh, it's a software problem. It's a computer problem. Nothing to see here. Walk us through what's happening in New Jersey, because it's emblematic of the problem we have here in the United States and why, if you don't do Save America, you've got to do an executive order like immediately to get aspects of Save America in. John Solomon.
Well, first, there's a lot of momentum moving towards Save America Act. There are tens of thousands of phone calls and hundreds of thousands of emails and text messages going to members of Congress today from a large coalition of conservative groups. So they are pounding the phones. They are putting fear in the hearts of senators who are on the fence and letting it be known that they heard the president's speech, even if the news media didn't. Let's get down to the glitch. That was the excuse we were given for why 6,600 non-citizens, i.e. foreigners, made it onto New Jersey's voter rolls, and approximately 400 of them actually voted. That's the single largest concentration of foreigners ever known to vote in an election. The New Jersey governor, Mikey Sherrill, a Democrat, came out yesterday and said, oh, I know I picked on Donald Trump on Thursday night saying I didn't believe his speech, but we do have 6,600 non-citizens confirmed on our voter rolls. I actually knew this last week, and it was really the software vendor. It's a glitch. Well, overnight, the software vendor, who ironically is based in France. Think about that. We have a foreign national company managing part of our election infrastructure in New Jersey. They came out and said, not so fast, Governor. It isn't our glitch. We pass the data to you. You decide if they're supposed to be voting. You let these foreigners onto your, meaning New Jersey, you let these foreigners onto your voter rolls and onto your ability to vote in elections. 400 of them did that. So they're calling bunk on their own customer. Which is pretty remarkable. I think we're going to find this dynamic in many, many states. I think the reason why the Democrats lost their mind on Thursday night with the president's very specific, very detailed, and by the way, fully vetted by all five of the intelligence agencies' speech. All five of the intelligence agencies checked every word, is that the three heels of their strategy is starting to fall apart. They like to get non-citizens on the voter rolls. They like to have dirty voter rolls. They proved that by fighting to keep them dirty. Two, they've known for some time, they were bragging about it and raising concerns in 19, then they let it go, that our election machines have vulnerabilities that a foreign power hasn't yet, but could exploit. And then third, they do not like any sense of hardening the system. They want to keep the system soft and mushy, and Donald Trump is threatening that by pushing the Save America Act.
John, can you just hang on one second? John's actually out at a conference.
Sure.
Stepped away to join us, John Solomon. Take your phone out, text Bannon, Bannon, 989898. You get the ultimate guide for investing in gold and precious metals. This guide is free. There's no charge. It puts you directly in touch with Philip Patrick and his team. They can walk you through all of it, particularly all the different modalities, methodologies they have for 401ks, IRAs, anything you've got to roll it into a tax-deferred holding of physical gold. So make sure you check it out today. Talk to Philip, Patrick, and the team. Still getting great feedback from his hit here on Saturday about the national debt and the U.S. dollar. John Solomon next.
Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
John, I know you can't divulge too much, but just any heads up about directionally where you guys are going in all this?
Well, when you think like a reporter, the things I think about over the last week, the media has spent a lot of time saying that the data that China bought was just commercially viable, no big deal. You've debunked this. I think you've done better than anyone explaining this, Steve. But you see in the documents contradictions to that. The documents say very clearly that there was a CNE, that is an exploitation unit. They don't buy data, they steal data. You see in the documents that the NSA and others use terms like compromised and leaked and hacked. The president used the terms stolen and hacked in his speech, and I know the Intelligence Committee approved those terms. I wonder if the intelligence agencies don't have something to say about the American public's being misled by their networks, and maybe why the TV networks and the major news organizations are misleading. I'd be looking for something like that. I think the second thing that I'd be watching for is we keep hearing, machines really, they're hard to penetrate. They're hard to hack. I've heard that a lot in the last few days. I'd be looking to see if there's any evidence to come out that would show that a machine was easily hacked. Now, maybe not a ballot counting machine, but another kind of machine that holds on to data. I'd be watching for that. And then if you assume that what we've laid out now is a pretty significant China influence or interference scheme, by the way, targeting voter registration files is by the definition of the intelligence community election interference. They consider that to be election interference. If they targeted voter machines, if they had some influence campaigns going like the stuff that we made public last Thursday night, the president did. The third thing you have to ask yourself is, were they trying once again to get money to the Democratic Party like they did in the 1990s with Bill Clinton and the Asia fundraising scandal, the Buddhist monks and the use of the Lincoln bedroom, all that scandal? You have to wonder if China started that again. And I think in the next few weeks we'll get answers to all of that. Meanwhile, I think what's going on right now, I'm down at ALEC here in Orlando, Florida. That's the American Legislative Exchange Commissions, all the state legislatures all across the country. As I walk down the hall to the body, a state legislator walks by, we're going to get Save America. We got to get it done. We're going to harden our defenses in our states. The state legislators get this. I wonder if our congressional lawmakers have the same passion. But walking through this room, getting here to sit in the studio, two-way person. Everybody had thumbs up. We're going to get Save America Act. We're going to harden our defenses. The fact that the states are thinking that should give some additional agita to members of Congress who've not had the will thus far to get this done. The House has done a great job. The Senate has been the place where it has been stuck. I see the passion here among these state legislators. They want to get this done, and they're looking to Congress to deliver. So I think that's the fourth big thing to be watching for.
I just want to reiterate, you're down there with the state legislature. ALEC's one of the most powerful organizations around. At the state level, they get this, right?
Yep. They do. And many states have done it. I mean, Florida, I'm in the state of Florida, right? They've had it right for a long time, since hanging Chad in 2020. They've been hardening their defenses. They make it hard to cheat and easy to vote. Yeah, they have absentee ballots, but they get them counted on election night. Texas taking the lead. Look how much voting went up in Georgia after Georgia reformed its laws and put voter ID in. Remember, the Democrats told us Jim Crow 2.0, and then we had a larger turnout of black and white and all sorts of voters in the Georgia elections after those reforms. The truth of the matter is the states already have proven that if you strengthen your voting laws, more people, not less people, more people will vote. That is a dynamic that the Democrats can't deny, though they try very hard with their partners in the media.
One more time, Save America. What are people to do today?
People are pounding the phones. I've been hearing from members of Congress and said, my inbox is getting filled up, my phones are getting filled up. House and Senate members, an army of American groups are out there today leveraging their memberships to the millions doing this. People like the Convention of States with Mark Meckler and AMAC with Rebecca Weber and others. They're out there making sure that lawmakers know, one, the base of the party has their backs if they have the courage to vote for this law. And two, you'll be facing the ire of these people if you don't get it done. That is always the most powerful form of politics, grassroots politics, direct communication from your constituents. Word on Capitol Hill is they're starting to get pounded. Donald Trump's call to action has turned into action among the base. And that tells you something. No amount of media manipulation and propaganda in the last 4 or 5 days trying to dismiss us has confused the American public. They understand what Donald Trump revealed last Thursday, and they apparently are with him on getting the SAVE Act done. That's what these phone calls are making clear today up in Capitol Hill.
John, where do people go for all your content?
JustTheNews.com is our website. Jay Solomon Reports is the handle on all social media, and I'm lucky enough every night at 6 o'clock right here on this incredible network, Real America's Voice, to follow the great Steve Bannon with the Just the News, No Noise TV show. We love doing that handoff and love being on the network with you, Steve.
Thank you, sir. Our regards to all those great state legislatures. Alex, one of the most important institutions in the country. Sir, thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Yeah, no doubt.
And those folks. Very important meeting down there. They get it. We're going to go to Pennsylvania in a moment. I want to bring Kobe in first. Kobe, because we started the show with this AI situation that's supposed to be in containment and a breakout, very serious. Although I'm the first to admit there are elements where AI can be used to the positive if properly guided and contained. You come, in fact, from the data industry. You're not a medical technology guy. You're not a medical insurance guy. You weren't in the insurance industry. You didn't come from finance at all. You came from probably one of the most hardcore of all data science segments of high technology. Why did you think that skill set? What would lead somebody to believe that skill set was going to be appropriate in helping American citizens think about their Medicare?
Thanks, Steve. I love being called hardcore, so appreciate it. The way that the Medicare industry is set up is so stacked against the consumer that it's just impossible for an individual to use the data and have access to the data that's necessary to choose the right Medicare plan. I saw my parents going through this, and I just appalled at how complicated it is. And so it actually does take a lot of data expertise and a lot of technology expertise to get to the right answer with someone's Medicare. And so the result of all of this data work and all of this data science that we put in is that we're able to save people tremendous amounts of money. So last week we announced that we've saved the posse over $1 million in just a few weeks of working together. And just this past week, I have 3 quick testimonials. One is we saved someone $570 a month, so almost $7,000 a year, by getting them a different plan with identical coverage. And one really important thing that we do when we help people with their Medicare is we make sure that they aren't sacrificing their healthcare. We're saving money without sacrificing the fundamental care, which is so important to people's retirement and to their Medicare. We saved another member almost $2,000 a year, again, without losing any coverage, and that allowed them to add back dental coverage that they had previously lost. And when we saved another person $1,000 a year by getting them access to better doctors and on a better plan. So using all of this data background, we're able to fix a system that has always been rigged against people by these Medicare brokers who really hide the data and make it hard for people to navigate. Our whole model is you give us a call, it's 845-WAR-ROOM, which is a special number for the posse. We will connect you with an expert Medicare advisor whose only job is to make sure that you have the right guidance for your needs and trying to save you money without sacrificing your healthcare. So it's 845-WAR-ROOM. We'll connect you to a licensed advisor. And then once you're enrolled in a plan, we're there for you through the entire journey. And we'd never charge. So it's entirely free, no obligation. We'll help you find doctors who are in network. We'll help you find prescriptions at lower costs. We'll help you appeal bills and claims that may be incorrect. And we'll always be there if you need anything with your Medicare. And health insurance companies and Medicare insurance companies are not always the easiest to deal with. And we've been doing this a while, so we know how to navigate them and how to make sure that you get the best coverage for your needs.
Look, 845-WAR-ROOM is no obligation, it's free. So all you have is, and I say your most important thing is your time. This is that important. Look, Colby and the guys are confident enough that in their data analysis, they can help you, that you don't need to pay up front. You don't need to hire them. They'll show you the facts. I want to go back to the incentive structure here. The reason is there's $100 billion in fees out there annually, folks, annually. And the structure of the industry is just that the big insurance, and look, in a capitalist system, to their own self-interest, have structured it so that the advisors can grab a big hunk of those fees, working with the provider to confuse the little guy. And it's so confusing that one of the most powerful things you have is the Stanford PhD who specializes in medical economics says, it's too confusing for me. I need an advisor. So 845 War Room, what do they need to do to start right now? We got about a minute. What do they need to do to start?
They give us a call, 845 War Room. It's totally free. We'll connect you to a Medicare advisor. If you have any questions, we'll answer those. We'll look at your current option if you already have a Medicare plan and tell you if there's a better one. If you're already on the best plan for your needs, we'll tell you that. So you'll have peace of mind. And there may be a better plan out there because, as Steve, you said, almost every Medicare advisor in the country is really not independent. They're really acting on behalf of the insurance carrier. So they hide a lot of information and they don't show full information to you. So what we do is we look at every option, we compare them to make sure that you have the best options and the best Medicare plan for your needs. So it's totally free. Give us a call. I personally review every review. You can always email me directly if you have any issues. We really operate like a truly member-first company, and that's our goal, to help every American navigate Medicare.
And you'll stick with them through the journey. 845 War Room. Sir, thank you so much for founding the company, helping your mom, and then taking it out to the rest of the nation. Fabulous.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, sir. 845 War Room. Birch Gold, End of the Dollar Empire. If you haven't dived into it, you need to. birchgold.com/Bannon. That would be me. Totally free. 8 free installments to get you up to speed, to get you up the learning curve about money and fiat currency and all of it. The importance of the U.S. dollar in the world's financial system. Get it today.
Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
You know, the great patriot, Sam Faddis, gives us so much expertise on the intelligence situation, what's happening in the Middle East, served his country for so long in the Middle East, and particularly in places like Persia, and is one of the great grassroots leaders in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, which is absolutely the Keystone State, is a keystone for the MAGA movement and for victories, has a serious medical problem. We're putting up the families. I think yesterday they had the helicopter, the medical evac helicopter taken away. Understanding he's at University of Pennsylvania evaluating about going to surgery there, and Grace will get us updates as we go along. But prayers for the great Sam Faddis. Pennsylvania, the Commonwealth, particularly Western Pennsylvania, is Trump country. However, we've had issues for Allegheny County about exactly what's going on there and how we deliver the vote consistently. Mary Jo Costello, Melanie Maxwell. Mary Jo, tell us about, I had a little bit of time yesterday, but I want you to take you guys' time. We got a whole segment and a half here. Walk through what the situation was in Allegheny County. How is it being run from the Republican side? And what did you guys, you grassroots patriots, kind of the MAGA base, what did you guys decide to do about it? And what did you accomplish, ma'am?
Okay. Thanks again for having us on, Steve. Yesterday, we talked about our team, and our team is hundreds of people. So I chose to pick Melanie or bring her on board. She has been our precinct champion for the last 4 years. And I'm going to turn it over to her and kind of pick up where we left off. But first, I'll just say we have been up against 100% establishment for the last 6 years that I've been doing this. And for the last 4, Melanie has taken the ball and run with it in a very remarkable fashion. So, Melanie.
Thanks. So we stumbled upon Dan Schultz and his precinct strategy, and we had no idea what we were doing. And we just all grabbed hands and we jumped in the ocean together, not knowing how to swim. And little by little, we learned exactly what it is that Dan Schultz talks about so emphatically, and that is the precinct strategy. And it is the #1 tool in the toolbox to get good people elected, to get our get out the vote and to get all of the things taken care of that have not been taken care of in the Republican Party. For example, if you become a precinct committee person, everybody asks me, how much time does it take? 44 hours per year. That's it. If you don't have 44 hours per year to help save your country, you probably shouldn't be watching this show right now. But so we just started plugging away, talking to friends, talking very intentionally. Every relationship that I've made over the past 6 years has been with the intention of how can I get this person involved? I think the grassroots is what was always intended. We were always supposed to be involved in our government in this local level, and it just hasn't been happening. So we turned over every rock. Sometimes the conversations were easy. Sometimes the conversations literally took 4 years until we got to this election this past Saturday. And it's a family. We have the efforts that have been undertaken is not just me. It's not just Mary Jo. It's been hundreds of us that have gone out and recruited their friends, their family. I recruited my son. She recruited her son. And so, when you take time away from family, sometimes it can be, it can be difficult. But when you can include your family, it's amazing. And my family has grown as a result of this. We're just happy warriors. We love to be involved. The precinct strategy is one man and one woman, and you get your own little piece of America to work, and you get out the vote, and you explain the candidates, and you explain things that people don't have time to do the research on their own. So we do a lot of door knocking, we do letter writing, we do phone calls, get out the vote, we explain why that's so important. And so we have our own tiny little piece of America that we're responsible for. And it's not hard.
Melanie,
It's not
but
hard
hang
work.
on a second. So people, obviously this is a platform for the grassroots and for Dan Schultz and Steve Stern and all the people that are active in the precinct strategy movement. One of the things we hear consistently is that 44 is, I guess, technically the amount of hours. We do know people like yourself, people pour their heart and souls into this. They give up their hobbies, sometimes give up their sports. Their lives get bigger because they're meeting people, particularly at a certain age in life when you're not making new friends. You get comrades in arms, you get new people, you're fighting your task and purposes for this sacred cause of this republic. But the one consistent thing I hear is that it's so much harder than just doing it if you just had to do the organizing to compete against these Marxist jihadists that call themselves Democrats. But the biggest fight you have, and this is whether it's in West Palm Beach or in Nebraska or in Texas or Georgia, is the people that are there, the kind of Republican establishment, don't accept you by and large with open arms. They fight you. Talk about your 6-year, you guys have just now kind of taken control after 6 years of this. Why were you not embraced? Everything you just said, knocking on doors, canvassing, explaining policy to people, explaining candidates should be something the Republican Party supports and loves, but they have not. Why is that? And what was your struggle?
I can't say for sure, Steve, but I feel like the people that are against us, they're against us because they think they're somebody special. They want to use this as a platform for the next shiny object. None of us want to do this. None of us, thought that we were going to be in this position. I mean, God has blessed us as a result, but this was not our intention. I never thought that I was going to be doing this. But when 2020 happened, I mean, that changed everything. I don't know. I think that the rhinos just want to go to the next best thing, the highest level that they can get at. So they have ignored we the people, because we the people are not going to help advance them in their next position. I don't know. What would you say?
I mean, it's all the things I said yesterday too. There's so many reasons, but I always say, like, I want Melanie's kids to do great, and Melanie wants my kids to do great. I think some of these bitter people, they just want their own selves to do great, and they cannot see this as. And I was in the Navy, and when we all take the oath, you swear your life for your fellow countrymen. These people don't understand that. It's very self-centered. It's targeted instead of doing the work and rolling up your sleeves. There's so many reasons why people just don't want to work together. So we vet our posse. You know, we used to say, oh, everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome. After this election leading up to it, oh no, you're vetted. And we don't tell people how we vet you, but we vet you. And it's critical because we can't afford bad apples in the barrel because it'll just take us all down. And that's how we got here. So I also don't think a lot of these people want to win. It's go along to get along, go along to get along, go along to get along. And the minute that you show a fighting attitude, they dismiss it. But we can't win anything when you're working with losers. So it's been remarkable, and it's a sifting process. You want to add to that? I think that's
hang on 1 second. When you say they don't actually want to win, I see this all the time, but explain to people how you see it from the deck plates. When you say these people don't want to win, what do you mean by that?
You want me to go? Well, let's talk about the PAGOP. What have they ever won? We are Pennsylvania. We are red. We are fighting. We're amazing. I mean, Pennsylvania. Why, when Donald Trump ran for president, our PAGOP and our local Allegheny County provided us with zero Trump material and yard signs. Zero. I went out and we hired, we didn't even have to hire him. He printed thousands and thousands of Trump yard signs, and people would use my garage. We'd sell them for $2. And then Elon Musk came in at the last minute and wrote a check for $1 million. And some kind of other Trump sign showed up. How can you want to win and not do anything? It's like playing football. And we tell people all the time, if you want to play baseball, you have to get off the bench. And if these people just want to sit on the bench, lazy. I mean, you can say a lot of it's just laziness. We call people chicken salad eaters. They want to come to the party. They want to eat their chicken salad and go home. That's not what this is about. So it's a tough one, Steve. It's a hard question. And I think we're all struggling with the answer, but we choose to just charge down the field with the football, aim for the goalpost, and all this other shiny object stuff, just let it go, because we win. We are winners. We have caused so much, what do we want to call discord in Allegheny County, when all we do, we're just happy patriots. And we say our Team Reds meetings look like what the Republican Party should look like. It's a bunch of patriots. We have civil discourse. We act respectful. People get mad at us and we're like, well, have you been to a Team Red meeting? No. Okay. So we don't care. That's the other thing. We're bully proof. And that's important because they do try to bully.
What do you think, as we stand today with the midterms, but even beyond the midterms, 2028, but actually the whole direction of the country, as you guys sit here today, having given up a big part of your time to do this, it's not about particular policies, but as far as motivating, we just had Megan Messerly on from Politico about their poll, right, that showed there's a dropping interest in the war. But more importantly, it was about the intensity. We know the left, particularly the more radical parts of the left, are ginning up their voters on a hate Trump campaign and hate MAGA and hate Trumpism and all of it. On our side, what are you doing to motivate people for the long fight? Because this is not going to be about any one election, although obviously if we lose the House in the midterms, and Pennsylvania is central to that, we're going to have huge issues. But how are you going about motivating people now to join this cause?
You want to take it?
I think we just motivate them because we have fun when we do this. We build relationships, which are very intentional, and we motivate them to get out and vote because of our children, because of, the founders talked about how we would be responsible to God and to posterity. And that's why I'm doing this. I'm doing this for my children. I'm doing this for my grandchildren that I don't have yet. I'm doing this because I love the country and I don't want the country to go down in flames. Steve, I think a lot of people don't even realize that there is such a thing for them to be involved in. They don't realize, pastors, a lot of pastors aren't preaching this, from the pulpit. Some are, but not many. We were meant to be involved in the government. We, the people, the little people, if you want to call us the little people, whatever. I think that the Republican Party as a whole has gotten so big and so proud of themselves. For what? They've never talked to us about what we want. They don't represent us, and that's the problem. I represent a very small population of people in my community, but I ask them, what do you want? What do you want to see? And I will try to make that happen. I mean, I don't do a whole lot, but at least I'm talking to the people. When was the last time that our representatives, at least in my area, had a real town hall or that asked us what we wanted? They don't. They're public servants. They're supposed to be serving us, and they're not. And that goes, I don't know what they're doing on the Democrat side because they're just crazy. But on the Republican side, they're not listening. And so if we get the little people involved in some of these empty seats, they're going to hear from us because we're getting bigger, we're getting louder. So as far as motivating people, I think it's just you motivate people to save the country. You motivate people because it's fun. This is my hobby. Saving the country is my hobby. And I don't know. I don't know if that answers the question, but
that's perfect.
We're all motivated.
It's perfect. It's perfect because it comes from the heart. Okay, we're going to take a short commercial break. Allegheny County and how the grassroots took over the apparatus and are driving it forward. Short break. Back in a moment.
Here's your host, Stephen K. Bannon.
As the engine room are telling me, the Phoenix engine room, this is a example of Burke's little platoons. When you read it about Edmund Burke, about what was the substrate of really society and culture, you just heard it right there from Melanie and from Mary Jo. Guys, we got to bounce, but can I get Mary Jo? You guys do have a website. Where do people go to get more information? And then I'm going to talk to you after the show and we'll have you back on. But where do people go today to find out more about Team Red?
TeamRedUSA.com. And you can just reach out right to us. And we had lots of activity last night after being on yesterday. So thank you, Steve. God bless you. And we're so appreciative.
No, we want everybody to pile in today. This is the way you take back the country. You guys right there. Thank you all. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
That's the way you take it back right there. And it can be taken back, right? You're dismissed all the time. Remember, first they dismiss you, then they trash you, and then you win. We've won a bunch before. We're going to win more in the future. Trust me. We're not going to just sit there and turn it over to people out to destroy this country. Mike Lindell, you're from the factory floor today. Talk to us, sir. Okay, Mike,
Hey.
calling Mike. Is that Mike Lindell? There you are. There you go. Okay, go ahead. Talk to us.
Hey, Steve, how you doing? We're live from the factory here. We're having our big factory sale, but in a little bit, CNN's coming here. We're getting set up. Your old pal Donny's coming in from Ireland.
Donny the dirtbag.
Yeah, Donny the dirtbag. That's right.
Donny, tell him the War Room said hi to Donny the dirtbag.
Yeah, I will. And, people go, Mike, why would you let CNN in the factory? Well, there's a big narrative out there that My Pillow is bankrupt or My Pillow is not, it went down. We won. We attacked it until it went under. Absolutely not true. We're still standing. As you can see, we're making pillows, thousands upon thousands a day. And all the employees here, our employee-owned company, they want to thank the War Room Posse with everything they've done to get us to this point. We have this huge building. Here, shining over here. Goes all the way to the other end of the building. We have storage. We have shipping department. Here, Tom, bring this. And we're completely in our new factory now, and we're making stuff as fast as we can for the War Room Posse. We're having our big factory sale. This is our first annual factory sale where free shipping for the War Room Posse. And we'll see this comes once every 250 years where we get an opportunity like this for all these sales combined. And it's very exciting.
Mike, one more time. Where do they go? I'm going to let you get ready for CNN. One more time. Where do people go for the sale that took us 250 years to get to?
Right. And by the way, everybody, I'm all dressed up, Steve. We're doing one of our biggest governor events tonight. That's why CNN is here. I told Donnie, I said, Donnie, we'll try and make a spot where we can clear the people out so you can make it look like nobody's there. But we're going to have thousands there tonight at this event. But yes, everybody, War Room Posse, go to mypillow.com/war room. And we're having our factory sale, free shipping on anything you want to get from our pillows. It's the premiums as low as $14.98. And we have our MyPillow mattresses that we make, the made in the USA, 50% off, free shipping right to your front door. We've got the mattress toppers. It's just very exciting because this collides with our second annual mega sale, our warehouse sale, our outlet sale. It's all exclusively for the War Room Posse. So you guys go there now at mypillow.com. Use that promo code War Room and call 800-873-1062 and tell the operators that you have their back. We have your back. Free shipping today. Order now your entire order. Yeah. Promo code War Room.
Okay, Mike, I'm going to go spend the afternoon with meetings with the grassroots. You're going to spend them with Donnie and CNN. I got the better deal. I'm going to let you go to get ready. Tell Dirtbag Donnie we said hi.
I will do that, Steve. Thanks.
Thank you. Mike Lindell, all cleaned up. Look at that factory. Is that unbelievable? They like the guy wouldn't renew the lease because he was MAGA. My Pillow's doing fine. Absolutely fantastic. The Charlie Kirk show's next. We're going to toss him, Andrew Colvette and the team. You got Poso. We're going to be back here at 5. You don't want to miss it. We're already packed on the show. Got to figure out, got to opportunity cost, got to use my time well. We'll make sure we do that. I want to thank our sponsors, particularly the last couple of days. Been so much going on. Been cutting to the White House live. Charlie Kirk's, the trial last week. These folks are terrific. Home Title Lock. Today we start the show. We saw artificial intelligence breaking out of containment and going on its own. I'm not saying it's conscious, going on its own to do a cyber attack on another company. Hello. The combination of AI and cyber right now with the rudimentary system that can protect your title. Remember, every dream you've ever had is in that home. Plus, oh, by the way, 90% of your net worth. $1 million triple lock protection. In honor of the 250th birthday of the nation, Home Title Lock, this is Natalie Dominguez and the team came up with this. 25% off 2-year coverage of the $1 million triple lock protection. This is pennies a day. But go find out what it is, what it means, and how it can protect you, not just from rogue accountants, lawyers, significant others, or formerly significant others, maybe even kids, ex-spouses, who knows? But also AI and cyber. Check it out. HomeTitleLock.com/Steve25 to get the benefit. Now, talk to Natalie Dominguez. Also, we had the CEO of the IRS on yesterday. Trust me, Scott Bessent and the team over there have got to find every potential dollar they think they're owed, and there comes the rub. Go to 866-513-5516. This is a hotline for the War Room Posse, set up by Cameron Kinsey from the first term, now working over with Tax Network USA. You get a free discovery call to find out exactly what you do owe the IRS. Don't let the letter, just metastasize. Fees and penalties build up. Lance the boil and do it today. That's what Tax Network USA, 866-513-5516. Take care of that. Take care of it. Don't delay. No putting it off. Allfamilypharmacy.com, Bannon 10. Michael Kunzler and the team has set up an amazing company to break the grip of big pharma and the drugstore companies on you. You don't have to take it anymore. Allfamilypharmacy.com/Bannon10 for 10% off. Talk to Michael Kunzler, his consultants. We'll see you back here at 5.